Today we're in the studio and not my office because I'm going to be talking about measuring light and color because I have this guy, the CV600. The CV600 is a color spectrometer and exposure meter, but I'm mostly using this guy for color. So that is what we're going to be looking at mostly and where I think this thing really shines. Now up front, I will tell you that this will run you about $1,200. So this isn't for my new or no budget filmmakers. This one is meant for more pro work. But if you're just starting out, there are still some things that we're going to be talking about that are good to know. First thing we'll jump into from the top menu is the basics section. This is definitely one of the areas that you're going to be using the most. Right here, I have set up what I want to measure. At the top, I have CCT, which stands for correlated color temperature. This will measure the color temperature of your light. Then I have TLCI, which stands for television lighting consistency index, and CRI, which stands for color rendering index. Both of these are doing something similar, and that is measuring the color rendering of your light, meaning how accurately your light is handling color. The difference between the two is that CRI was created for architecture, while TLCI was created for television and film. So CRI is measuring how your eye sees color, and TLCI is measuring how your camera will see it. So the more useful number really is coming from TLCI. For instance, if we take a metering of the fluorescent lights in my office, not surprisingly, I'm getting an 84 from my CRI and a 66 from my TLCI. Translation: this light sucks for filming. But now if we go to something like my iCan Radon and measure that, we're now getting a 94 CRI and an even higher TLCI at 96. Translation: this light is delicious. Or we could try this out on my Aperture 120T with the T in the 120T standing for tungsten. And of course, the CV600 can measure LED and fluorescent as we've already done, but it can also do tungsten and HMI as well. So when we measure this one, we get a CCT of about 3000, which is nice and warm, and a consistent TLCI and CRI of 98. This doesn't surprise me at all. The 120T is easily one of my favorite lights right now. But now that we've taken the readings, we can jump back into our main menu and then over to CRI, and we can get a breakdown of how well our light is rendering all of the colors. And look at that, so sexy. But if we now meter something that's sure to be terrible, like for instance, the light on my iPhone, we get some horrible TLCI and CRI numbers. And again, back in the CRI menu, we can see the breakdown of where everything is going wrong and hurting color-wise. We can tap on R10, which is yellow, to see just how bad that number is, and 29. Geez. Which, speaking of R10, if we go back to basic, you see if we tap any of the selections, we can actually change what we are getting from readouts here. So if I wanted yellow specifically, I could select R10 as one of my options, but I'm going to set that back to foot candle since that is what I personally would use. Foot candle, of course, will be your light's intensity, but moving out again, we also have the spectrum section, which gives you our spectrum readout for all of your color, and will also show you the highest point in your spectrum. With the iPhone, we're of course heavily on the blue end, but if we measure the 120T again, we could see that we're much more on the warm end of things. But let's jump into the flicker section now. Up here, we can set our frames per second, which I'm shooting at 24 frames per second. Then we point our meter at a light that we're using and click capture, and after it does its reading, it will give you the final, which we see here that this light has passed and we won't have a flicker problem. But I bet if we tried a crappy light like the one on my iPhone, yep, we get an NG, which is no good. This is especially helpful when shooting slow motion. I had to do reshoots due to flicker once on a larger production. I really wish I would have had this to avoid those headaches. So again, just select the frame rate that you're shooting at and go from there. Moving on again to one of the coolest features on this bad boy, filter. In here, you set your target white balance, and the CV600 tells you what filters that you need to match the source with the light that you're using. So for instance, if I'm shooting in a big location that has lights that I can't shut off, or I just want to utilize, like when we shot in a large location for losses, or if I wanted to use lights in my studio, I would just get a reading of the light that was there that I needed to match, then come into the filter selection, set that as my target temperature, and then take a reading of the light that I'm using. Now CV600 will give me the number which represents the filter that I need to use on the light. I use mostly Roscoe, so I have it set to that, but you can also set to Lee, Kodak, or Fujifilm. But now with that reading, I can go to Roscoe's site, type in the number that I was given, and it'll show me what gel that I need to make this work. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was the exposure settings, all of which is pretty straightforward. Up here, I can click and change what it is that I want to keep as my constant. I'll have the aperture and shutter as the constant, which I'll set to 2.8 and 125. Then I can take my reading and I'll get a readout showing what to set my ISO to get proper exposure. And there you go. But there you go. Again, this is a specialty piece of gear. It's not for everyone, but if you are running gun a lot and need to match location lights or check things like flicker or just need something for your studio, I would definitely suggest this one. If you're a budding filmmaker, entrepreneur, innovator, domain.com is the place to go when that next idea hits you. When you buy a domain name from domain.com, you're taking the first steps in creating an identity or vision for your brand or idea. The world's top 2 premier and most recognizable domain name extensions are .com and .net, which means those are the ones that are going to help you build your brand and expand your presence online the best. And for a limited time, from now until August 31st, you can get 35% off by using the coupon code FILMJUMBO. So not 25, but 35% off of domain names, web hosting, and email. Just use the coupon code, and when you think domain names, think domain.com.
Logo.
So that's it for today, but before I head out, if you are interested in grabbing my guerrilla filmmaking course from Creative Live, they've hooked me up with a coupon code to give you guys so you can get 50% off. It's 41 videos in over 16 hours, and do it quick because it's only good until July 9th, and that coupon code will also work for anything else on their site, so take a look through. They have all kinds of goodies in the film section, like a Premiere Pro class and so on, so definitely check that out. And for what I'm watching, currently I'm making my way through the latest season of House of Cards. This is easily one of my favorite shows. It is so solid on every level, especially the performances. I really adore the subtleties that Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright play with. So if you're a crazy person and haven't checked it out yet, definitely do that. And until next week, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.